All right, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Urban Chestnut Brewing Company, and they're out of St. Louis, Missouri, and this is their Czech Pilsner. So they're calling this one a Czech-style Pilsner that comes in at 5.3% alcohol by volume, 35 IBUs at the time of review. This can is just over 7 weeks old. I want to give a huge thanks and shout out once again to a very good friend of mine and viewer of the channel, Curtis, for this beer, so big thanks to him. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies that Curtis hooked me up with, and he hooked me up with 5 different beers from the St. Louis area, and 2 of them were from Urban Chestnut, and this is the second and final one I am reviewing. A couple weeks ago, I reviewed the first one, which was a German-style Pilsner that was quite delicious. The name of that beer was Stammtisch, and it was really tasty. And typically, for myself personally, I enjoy a Czech-style Pilsners a little bit more than German-style Pilsners. I feel a little bit more balanced, and that was delicious, so I have really high expectations for this one. So they have a little spiel here on the side that hopefully I'll remember to read at the end of the review, but they're just going for a Czech-style Pilsner, and I'm here for it. So let's crack this one open, get it into the glass, and see what we got going on. Now, I will say, I do remember Curtis checking this beer in along with the Stammtisch, and he enjoyed that beer more than this one. So we will see. I think he did. I'm pretty sure. Curtis, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but he definitely, I think, rated it a bit higher. Now, we'll see if that is the case with, with me, but doesn't matter. Not really. I just wanted to mention it. Anyway, beautiful looking beer. Yeah, it's clear beer. You know, it's a lager. It's what it's supposed to be. You can see my hand through it. Has maybe a little bit of chill haze, just maybe generic haze in general. A decent carbonation streaming up from the bottom, but it has that yellow orange color, kind of like a gold. We'll say more of a golden yellow color. Has about, I don't know, 2.5 fingers of the soap sudsy looking head. It is off white. Big, huge bubbles to it. Hold it up to the light. That does look like a lager. It looks like a beautiful beer in the glass, like it really does. Outside of the head being a little bit soap sudsy. But yeah, anyway, let's get nose. Yeah, it smells really nice. So to me, I'm getting a lot of like herbaceous, spicy, almost peppery kind of hop note. Yeah, tons of it. Underneath that has, again, for me with a lot of Czech-style pale lagers and Pilsners, I get a lot of times now sourdough bread, almost like the peppery component from the hops kind of make it seem to me like a little bit of like a rye bread. Yeah, it's bready, it's biscuity, but it has like a sourdough kind of bread feel to it. Somewhat crackery. There's a slight orchard fruit, like an apple or a pear, like more towards the core of those fruits. Maybe a touch of a lemon zest. There's a slight, ever so slight like buttery butterscotch thing. Now I know the style. I don't talk about it a lot, but I know like certain styles can have a little bit of like a diacetyl in them. Like as far as like, it's an off flavor in beer, right? It gives you that buttery, like movie theater popcorn kind of butter. Some people will perceive it as butterscotch, depending on the nose, the taste. I don't really mention it in, a lot of lager reviews. Sometimes I get it, but it's so minute, it's not really worth mentioning. Here, it's a little bit more prominent, and it's more to like the little butterscotchy, but not overly done. And again, for the style, I know that some of it can be like a slight character of diacetyl can be fine in the beer. At least as far as what I know, and I don't know a lot, so yeah, it smells pretty good as a whole. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again, Curtis. Really nice, really nice. There is a little bit, again, of that diacetyl, or diacetyl. I think you can pronounce it either way. In the back of the palate, it has a very slight, like, buttery kind of finish. But it's not like overly done or anything, but it's definitely noticeable. Body, this is like medium body for a 5.3% Czech Pilsner, almost full body. Nice. Very refreshing mouthfeel, crisp, relatively clean on the palate, very effervescent. It's really super crisp, to be honest with you. Like moderate to a touch over moderately carbonated. The taste pretty much follows the nose for the most part. That sourdough kind of Rye bread character isn't as pronounced as it was in the nose. Right up front, I'm hit with that. It's omnipresence everywhere. It's sourdough bread, it's rye bread. It's almost has like a toasted kind of quality to it. It's underlying, omnipresent, but not really ever the predominant note. About halfway through the palate, I get a little bit of a red apple core, a touch of a lemon zest, and then in the finish, I get that peppery, herbaceous, almost so the peppery kind of note is the spicy, so it's like a spicy herbaceousness. A little bit of a floral quality. This is semi to full on dry, a mild bitter, we'll say mild to moderate bitterness. It's pretty well balanced as a whole, which is again why I like the style more. I feel like German-style Pilsners, at least the ones that American brewers are making, have a little bit more of a hot punch to them. And this is a little bit more balanced and kind of my wheelhouse. I will say though, as I continue to drink it, that like slight buttery kind of sensation. It was more butterscotch in the nose, now it's buttery on the palate. It's kind of hit me. It's kind of sitting on the back of the tongue. And I don't know if I necessarily love that. Again, as far as the style goes, I know that that can be present in the beer to, you know, low to like, I won't even say moderate amounts, but usually like low amounts of it. I don't know if by the time I finish this glass, if it would be overbearing. Like right now, it's not, but it's definitely, the problem for me is it's lingering on the finish. So it's the most noticeable thing because it's the last thing I taste. And it's not off-putting. It's just different and not really what I expected coming into this review, even though, again, I know it can be present. I just haven't had a lot of that in American brewed Czech-style Pilsners. I know a lot of people will get it in like Pilsner or Kel and some other like authentic Czech Pilsners. Yeah, again, it's not bad. It's not off-putting. It's just I'm not accustomed to it. So, but then again, you know, that is a brewing fault in a lot of other styles. So it's pretty funny. Listen, I could drink this entire glass down in the next 5-10 minutes. The only issue I think I would have with this one personally, did I say personally? Like purse and personally, I said personally. Not making up words. 3 different words, none of them correct. Anyway, personally, what I think would happen is I'd probably be one and done with this, which is the opposite of what you want out of this style. You want it to be quaffable. Dare I say quaffable? You want it to be something that you crush. I think that Stammtisch is better than this one to my palate. Substantially better. I would say probably like a quarter rating better than this one for me personally, which again is a rarity. So kind of aligned with Curtis here on this one. Don't get me wrong, this isn't a bad beer. I enjoy it. It's just that slight, you know, diacetyl kind of feeling to it is something that on the back end I'm not necessarily in love with. So, where I'm gonna rate this, so I gave Stammtisch, I think like a 4.25 or a 4.3 or 4.2, something like that. So Czech Pilsner from Urban Chestnut, I'm gonna have to give this a low 4 out of 5 and go 3.9 out of 5. That's kind of where I'm landing with this one. I think it's a quarter point less. I think without that aftertaste, that finish of the like buttery popcorn butter, I think this would probably get into the high 4s, low 4.2 range, probably like a 4.1, 4.15. But as is, I got to be honest with you, and while I do enjoy this, it's not one of my favorite Czech Pilsners just because of that finish. Even if it's, you know, if that's an appropriate tasting note, and again, it can be in this style, it's just not something that I necessarily love. But that said, it's still, the rest of the beer is still really good, so it's tough to be like, yeah, this is not good, because I think it is. It's just, it depends on, I guess, how sensitive your palate is or how much, because there's been, let me tell you, there's been beers that I've had where I've went to like bottle shares or things of that nature, and somebody would be like, man, this is full of that, like, there's tons of butter, this is fucking gross, and then I'll taste something like, not really. Like, I don't really get that. So this, if I'm someone sensitive to it, maybe somebody that isn't sensitive to it, or I should say, if someone's sensitive to this, this might be too much for them. Me, I have trouble picking up on it, so if you're like me, you probably won't care too much about it, but it is a little bit weird on the back end. Anyway, price point and availability. Actually, let me read the side of the can. This is a classic Czech Pilsner, Czech Pilsner Lager to grace your winter table. A golden peppery, herbal, and clean. The perfect holiday pill. So yeah, I pretty much agree with that. They didn't mention any butter. Anyway, price by availability. I think Curtis said these were like $10.99 a 4-pack. That's a pretty fucking good deal, honestly. $11 for a 4-pack of something like this, especially if you're not picking up on the diacetyl like I am. I think, yeah, you would definitely thoroughly enjoy this if you like the style. And then availability, I have no idea with Urban Chestnut. I know The last review I did, there was a handful of people who were like, yeah, we used to get them here. I think a couple people in Chicago mentioned that, a couple other people like throughout the Midwest, and they're like, yeah, we don't see their stuff anymore. So I have no idea. I'd say go to their website, maybe go to their Instagram. Maybe there's a beer finder on their website. I don't know. I just know that Curtis was nice enough to pick up some St. Louis area beers, and he sent them to me, and I can't thank him enough. So far, my favorite of the bunch was probably that Stammtisch. That was just a great German-style Pilsner. And then I still have the side project, Neapolitan barrel-aged Imperial Stout, that I cannot wait to get into. Might save it, I might not, we'll see. But so far, I've been enjoying trying these beers out. I think, you know, St. Louis makes some good beers. I know that with Perennial. I've had a lot of their, not a lot of their beers, but some of their beers in the past. And he sent me a couple of their hop-forward beers, which were fun to try. So yeah, anyway, if you've had this one before, post in the comment section. 5.3%, you can't taste it. I just wish that little buttery kind of finish was knocked down a bit or just eliminated for me personally, even though it can be, I shouldn't say it's proper for the style, but it can in low amounts be in the style. For me, it's just not my preference. So anyway, cheers to Curtis, cheers to everybody, to the next one. Cheers.